You are now watching Zacian PTCG. Let's get it! Yo, what's poppin' YouTube? Welcome back to the Zacian channel. We are going to be covering over my top 8 and top 4 games from the recent Chill TCG LCQ. So yep, I was able to make top 4 at the gigantic Chill LCQ event with LucMetal. So I have my footage from my top 8, top 4 games. I'm going to commentate over it, try to explain exactly where I was. I mean, it happened like just about a week ago, so I'm really excited to showcase where it's at. Maybe it's going to help you during your Players Cup keys, or maybe you just want to watch some games that I played. Either way, I'm going to showcase the games and I commentated over them, so hopefully you enjoy that. If you want to look for the deck that I was playing, you can check it in the description below. And if you haven't already, give this video a like to signal boost to other Pokemon fans, and subscribe to the channel. We are so close to 4,000 peeps. We are so close to 4,000 subs. Let's get it. All right, let's jump into this game footage. So jumping into this game, I won the coin flip, which is great in Lucario Melmetal mirror. I mean, I was super happy to be making top 8s. I started off 6-3 in the day, typically not a record that would make top 8, but I went 5-0 in phase 2 in order to advance. Zamazenta is nothing crazy, so we'll have to see exactly what's up. And my opponent, I think they're from a European time zone, so they're like, yeah, I'm sleepy, and I mean, I was sleepy too. Top decking the Zacian's huge here because I'm able to go Intrepid Sword, and I can force my opponent out of the game if I'm able to get another couple energies. So the fact that I got 3 energies turn 1s means that I can turn that Tag Call into a Malilana and potentially win, draw a prize card super early, and maybe force them into using a Full Metal Wall. In my understanding of this matchup, it's better to go Full Metal Wall GX. That took a lot for me to say. So you want to have control over energies on the field, because energies means options. Options means that you probably are going to do something when your opponent's just using Intrepid Sword. That's the base understanding of how this matchup goes. So we'll see exactly what Snarf's going to grab here from the Guzmahala. There's a Chaotic Swell. You don't typically want to play the stadiums. The stadiums aren't really going to matter unless, of course, you play Wondrous Lab. Power Plant's not going to stop anything in this matchup. Chaotic Swell is equally not going to stop anything in this matchup. So we got a couple energies. Now, the whole thing with the Cape of Toughness, the fact that he got Cape of Toughness means his Pokemon's going to survive. So I'm still trying to decide what's the best way for me to handle this. I mean, I could still get an attack off, which seems huge, but we'll see. I know I wanted to grab a LucMetal. I think I'm probably going to go for the Malilana, or maybe I'm just going to vibe out for the turn. I'm still it's a tough choice on what I want to do, whether I want to discard something. Maybe I'm I could discard their energies. Okay, so I decided to go with LucMetal here, which I think is fine. I could always decide what I want to discard depending on what's going on. So I'm going to discard the LucMetal because I can always quick ball the LucMetal back. So that's helpful. Full Metal Wall is very important in this matchup. And I'm just debating on which ones I want to grab. There's a Capture Energy. So I'm probably going to quick ball away the Chaotic Swell or Power Plants. The Power Plants, it doesn't really matter. And there's another Zacian. So this is pretty ideal board setup, except I don't care for Zamazenta here. So I'm just trying to build up energies in play. You can see my opponent has 3. I have 5. We vibe in. And it's just going to continuously be, once you got 1 LucMetal, the rest is fodder. Other things are just fodder to discard. And it's an ongoing back and forth game. So from what I remember of this game, because I'm recording it about a week afterwards, or dubbing, commentating over it a week afterwards, it did not look great for me. And the fact that he got the knockout on this Zamazenta just makes it really tough, which causes for me to go for a premature Full Metal Wall. So I keep more energies in play than my opponents, but it doesn't necessarily do too much for me. Do I want to go Marnie? Do I want to go, there's really not too much that I want to be doing here. Marnie does take away their hand size down a little bit. And I mean, my hand's not bad. My hand's arguably better after that. So there's the Full Metal Wall. I just have to watch out for their Full Metal Wall. But I still have more energies in play than my opponent. So I'm in a good spot, although they have taken a knockout, and them getting an energy and just kind of jumping back into the game is a little bit spooky. So I'm like, okay, let's see what we can get off Marnie. Maybe I can get an attack off here. mean, the Steel Fist works out okay because they have not used their GX attack yet. And I'm keeping the energy in the deck so I have more access to energies going on. I'm also worried that they could just Full Metal Wall me at any given time. So that's why I'm not attaching the extra energies. If you're anticipating a Full Metal Wall and you think there's a Pokemon that they're going to use Full Metal Wall on, they're probably going to take away the energies. Yeah, so them taking away the 3 energies is huge. We still have more energy in play, but at least I have the other energies on my other Pokemon. So I can get the attack off. I mean, I should have probably put Cape of Toughness on there. I don't think they run Tool Scrapper, or maybe they do run Tool Scrapper. I'm not entirely sure. And now they're down to a 0 card hands. So this is really where the game kind of takes a turn. And I'm like, okay, I can kind of vibe out, see exactly what's going on. There's no reason for me to even switch to the bench because they don't necessarily have a strong attack to follow it up. And I could Boss's Orders knock out one of their Pokemon this upcoming turn and kind of jump back into the lead of the game. So there's a Metal Saucer. There's Metal Saucer again. So they attached the Metal Saucer to the wrong Pokemon, in my opinion, because that's just a Pokemon that I should be able to knock out for 2... Oh, I was like, okay, I'm doing 230. I don't knock it out. At first I was like, okay, yeah, we totally knock it out. But in this case, I'm like, let's go ahead and damage it. Because it puts them into a position where even if they Mallow-Lana, they don't necessarily have much going on. I can Mallow-Lana out of my active spot. So it kind of, as much as it's like, I thought I was knocking them out at first, or even again, I'm looking at it, I'm like, I'm thinking I'm knocking them out. It's hard with all the damage reductions not being on screen and all that stuff. That's what makes LucMetal a tricky deck. Well, it's just trying to figure that all out. So they're deciding on what they want to Mallow-Lana. I think they just got to discard their energy, or discard their cards, and I guess they're going to attack for 20. The 20 doesn't really do too much at all for me. I've already attacked last turn, so I might as well just go ahead and plug again. I don't think, again, the 20 damage probably doesn't matter too much, but maybe it does. I think I was debating on where it could matter eventually. I just didn't want to get things added up where they could eventually get a huge knockout. So then I'm going to go Lily's Pokédoll, and then I'm going to go right ahead with my Zacian, getting another attack off on my opponent. As you can see, our hand sizes are both pretty low, so a Marnie would be helpful to both of us. So there's a Cynthia Caitlyn, and then they're just getting back another Mallow-Lana. So it's just kind of like a back and forth slugfest of attacks. I don't necessarily have anything that's like particularly strong here, but I can Mallow-Lana, heal everything away, draw 3 prize cards, have all my energies in place. You can see, yeah. You can see how the game's kind of taking a turn. I did find a couple energies. I did find a Marnie. I have less damage in play than my opponent. I have more energy in play than my opponents. And they did not hit the energy, which is huge, huge. So there's a Lily's Pokédoll. I can start building up my other Zacian, and now I can go Marnie. So a lot of this deck, like sometimes it's just going to play itself out. Other games it's not. And here I'm just going to go Steel Fist, try to force my opponent into bringing something up, because I'm okay with whatever they have going on. As long as they just don't Boss Orders up a Zacian, I'm kind of vibing. And the amount of attacks that I need to take to win this game can end up being less than my opponent's. So there's their 200 damage, cool. I can get my attack off into this Zacian. So I could hard retreat, save the switches for later on in the game, so I don't really care about this Pokemon too much. I'm just discarding the metal energies for the sake of Metal Saucers, and just determining how many Metal Saucer I had left to make sure that I was making the correct call. And at this rate, I could just start building up another Pokemon if I really want to. I'm legit this close to a Rusted Sword in the deck. And I mean, my opponent, I feel what my opponent's saying. And I don't think there's any reason for me not to power up the LucMetal there, just in case I ever need to get the attack off. So I'm basically trying to hold out on my opponent's ability to boss this game. we'll see exactly how they handle the situation. There's a switch. They're going to get an attack off. Cool. 170. I can go switch attack with my other one. I can also attach there, get that build up for a heavy impact. Brave Blade again. So now I win the game in 2 turns. If my opponent does not find a boss, I win. I basically just win the game. Because they have to still take 2 turns after that. So it's really just all trying to find turns from your opponent. Now, the Malolana sucks there. But I still hit them for enough damage to knock them out. I'm doing 170 damage, 220 minus 60. I think that works out. 230 minus 60, 170. I always get mixed up between the HP and the damage. So let's see what we can find. There's Cynthia Caitlyn, and I'm like, okay, let's Cynthia Caitlyn try to make this all work out. So let's discard that. Let's grab the boss. Put that down there. And I don't even know which one I want to build up. I'm just going to switch there. I mean, if they don't go for the knockout, I could always just retreat that Pokemon. Because they have to be very careful. So I win the game next to. Too tired, can't deal with Mirror. Can't think straight. I think I forgot to add boss. And then they just conceded to me. So I mean, we take those. Moving on to top 4. Playing against TempoZard. Obviously not a matchup that I want to be hitting here. But it is interesting, and it is closer than most people think when you play against a fire type deck. It's not just because it's fire type that you lose. So me going first is awkward because if I don't get a coating metal energy, they could just like knock me out. So I did not get coating metal energy. I'm like, okay, I need another Zacian. Let's put down a Lily's Pokédoll. Let's build up the bench in case they go for a hot burn. Now I do find an energy, which is huge, which means I am forcing a Brave Blade next turn because I have the coating metal energy in my hand. So that's certainly helpful. There's their Welder, and I'm like, cool, raw Welder for 2 energies. My opponent, super lucky, let's go. Starting with the Heatran GX, starting with an attacker that can knock out a Pokemon. Things are looking great for them. And this matchup's like close. I'm not gonna necessarily say that I played it perfectly. Like I think we started this game around 1 o'clock in the morning, and this was after, I don't even know, 15 rounds of Pokemon. But I'm like, you wanna know what, let's go Marnie our opponents. They have a large hand size. I think it's worthwhile to Marnie. Just because they have 8 cards in their hands. I'm chilling. I don't really have much else going on with this hand, but I do have a Riesling, so I can switch into Lily's Pokédoll and then attack again. So I have options. I also have a boss, so I have ways to kind of get around whatever their board can offer. So me taking quick 2 prize cards on my second turn is huge. So they took prize cards on their first turn, but I'm still the one left standing with energies. So if they're not able to remove my coating metal energy, or if they have to go for their Double Blaze GX, they could be in a really rough spot. So there's their energies. Let's see what our opponent's doing here. Okay, so they missed the attack, which is awesome for us. So this is where I go LucMetal, and I think I have to go Guz Mahala if I'm not mistaken. Oh, I have the coating metal energy in my hand, so I'm going to go for the Cynthia Caitlyn. So at this rate, I think I'm okay to just go switch into the Lily's Pokédoll. I don't want to leave my Pokemon up active. And I keep on going, I'm like, how can I just like deal with this? The boss orders is kind of nice. So I am able to just go Brave Blade, plug into them. Now, the way that their damage works, they're doing 230 plus 30 for Outrage, 260. That still doesn't knock me out, unless of course they find a Zigzagoon. Not entirely sure if they played the Zigzagoon or not, but it does leave me with an option to just get a knockout with my Steel Fist, or it does give me the option to do other things. And after this, there's only 1 prize card left. So I mean, I think I'm in a pretty good spot where it's going to be difficult for them to knock out my Lucario Melmetal-GX. And I mean, going into this game, I felt really uneasy hitting this type of matchup. It's one of those things where I feel a little bit better hitting it afterwards. And for my players kept keys, it's helped me a lot. I have played against a decent bit of fire, but I've actually probably have a win rate against it that's higher than losing. So I think I'm above 50%. So they've powered up their Blacephalon. I don't think they'll have enough energies. They've gone through a lot of resources earlier on in this game. At least those are the thoughts that are like going through my head now and going through my heads then. Don't know how they handled this situation, because they need, what, 6 energies in order to get a knockout? I don't think they missed again either. It was just like, they kept on using scoop up nets and switches. So we'll see what they get off the quick ball. And, okay, so there's their scoop up net. They're going in with the Blacephalon. Will they have enough energies in order to make this happen? Because that's basically what I'm not hoping for, is just enough energies to make it not happen. There's their Primate Wisdom, there's their LucaRio. They are going through a lot of ways, so I know at least they couldn't be planning it. If your opponent's going in with a blind LucaRio, they might not have it. So there's their Giant Hearth. And you can see I'm trying to just look through exactly what's going on. And there's their Fireball Circus. I'm like, do they have the 6 fire energies in hand? And of course our opponent miraculously always finds a way, right? So there's that. Not necessarily what I was looking for at all. No other Pokemon I want to put down, because there's really no other reason to put anything else down. I probably should have used the Tag Call first to thin something out of the deck to give myself more options, because remember, Tag Call can be +2 cards. So that just might have been a mistake where I wasn't necessarily thinking. And at this point I'm going to go Full Metal Wall to reduce their energies and basically run them out of options where they could actually attack me. I just with the amount of energies that they had left comparatively with the Blacephalon, me not taking a knockout seems pretty okay if you ask me. Because I don't need too many turns. They've also gone through a bunch of welders. They're currently bench locked. So I think the game didn't necessarily go on as they expected. So they attached a single energy to the Zard. The escape rope is allowing them to get the Zard out. So they're doing 200, and if they go for... Their Outrage does more damage. So it's only doing 200. And I'm like, okay, how am I going to handle this? Malolana seems okay if I can get like a Lily's Pokédoll. But at this point, I think I'm going to try to go for some kind of Hearth play. Or not Hearth play, Guzmahala play. I think I'm just trying to discard cards out of my deck. Oh, I went with Marnie. Okay. I mean, it doesn't necessarily matter. It's more or less, do they win the game or do they not win the game? I could have used Guzmahala there. Maybe I thought their hand was like, they had something in their hand or something like that. So at this point, they either win the game or they do not win the game. So there's their LucaRio. There's their Lucario. Now, one thing that they should have done if they're looking for energies or to thin their deck out, before they used Lucario, they should have used Giant Hearth if they had fire energies left in the deck, which I think they did, which would have given them a higher chance to get anything that they're looking for. So, based on this game, and it's one of those things where you're always awkwardly waiting for your opponent to either have it or not. And that's probably one of the toughest things about Pokemon in general, where you're like, do you have it or do you not have it? So there's their switch. And they're just trying to get it. They do have the scoop of nets. They have the welder. I'm like, do they have other things available? What do they have left in their discard pile? And it looks a lot quicker. And then I'm able to just go Blacephalon, bring that up. And they're going to go second. Which, I mean, we'll take the dub under there. I mean, I felt pretty good winning that game. I was like, okay, if I won that game, maybe I can win the series. So the reason why they want to go second is because it's very hard for us to find a raw coding metal energy, which means they could just take cheesy prize cards. So there's the Zacian down on my bench. I'm going to attach the energy down to that one because, again, I'm worried that they're just going to knock out my active. I feel it. I did not get the energy, though, unlike last game. attached via the Intrepid Sword, which means that if they could just get out a Reshazard or a whatever, they can knock me out. So let's see what their Quick Ball brings. Okay, cool. Heatran. So they usually main with the Heatran. I'm like, what does our opponent have here? There's Scoop Up Nets. I'm like, what could they have here? They should have searched through their deck first with Giant Hearth, and they just have the Raw Welder again. I'm like, are you serious? And it sucks because, like, I'm losing up 2 prize card Pokemon on my first turn. And when a player's running hot with Welder, Welder usually wins. Welder's a little bit of a run hot deck. I've played it a lot. I mean, not every single Welder deck or not every single circumstance is a run hot deck, but nowadays it feels very much like a run hot deck. So I'm like, cool, I have currently no way to kind of deal with this situation. Maybe I just sacrifice my Zacian again. Like, how do I really deal with what my opponent has thrown out at me? So there's Guzmahala. I'm like, okay, I gotta do something. Maybe I'll discard Guzmahala and an energy. I could discard a Guzmahala safely, knowing that I'm probably not gonna use another energy. Maybe I'm like, okay, I just end up discarding the LucMetal. Just because I was going like, okay, I can grab one off Tag Call. Again, I gotta probably search through my deck a little bit better with Tag Call. And I'm like, alright, let's see what we can do here. Power Plan, stop our opponents. Let's go Cape of Toughness. Let's just build up energy. Nothing else that I could really do here at this point. Now, our opponent is 3 energies away from just getting the knockouts. There's the fire energies. There's the natural welder. And I'm just like waiting for our opponent. Like, they were taking a second to like just think about it. I'm like, okay, maybe they don't have the fire energy. I have my message typed out. I'm pretty sure I lose here, especially when they're grabbing the bat and the Dedenne. I'm like, there's no way we ever like don't get this, right? There's no way that they don't ever miss the fire energy. So now they're just going through, scooping up not everything on Insight. So there's their energy. I have it typed out. We're ready to go, and we are ready to move on to game 3 of top 4. So, do I want to go first? No, I want to go second, just so I can get my Coating Metal energy off, search it up with the Guzmahala. So, seeing what we get here. Nothing crazy. We don't have access to the Guzmahala. We don't have access to... We do have access to another bench Pokemon. That is one thing that works. There's that Heatran. Every single game, they just main with the Heatran. Okay. So, boss orders, I'm cool with that. That's not a welder. They're vibing. Nothing crazy going on. Now, I have really no way to deal with this beyond just like trying to get my LucMetal set up. I might as well... I think I attach to the bench. Or I'm like, okay, you want to know what? If I go Marnie, I can get the Coating Metal energy. And here I'm punished by just not getting the energy. I waste a Metal Saucer in order to get that energy. And Intrepid Sword does not net me any energy. So not a great start, especially if my opponent's able to find Welder. So there's a Great Catcher. There's a Giant Hearth. And I mean, really one of those things where that was a terrible combination. They didn't even use Giant Hearth. They should have used Giant Hearth to thin through, understand what's going on in their deck. But my opponent did not. That's cool. Whatever. Are they going to find a way out of the active spots? And I mean, it's very likely they have all those Scoop Up Nets and Switch. So this is what I'm presented to on my second turn of the game. And I'm like, cool. I'm very much like close to scooping at this point. It's getting late. I don't really have anything to back this up. There's a Steaming Stomp, 260 damage. Cool. So I'm like, okay, cool. Where do I deal with this hand right now? I really don't have too much else that I'm looking for. If I just top decked an energy, I could have maybe used Full Metal Wall. I'm like, do I play that down? Where and how do I how can I deal with this? You can see the timer is like starting to run down. I'm like, okay, I have no idea on how to run with this. Okay. So my whole thing is, there's nothing that's really going to work well for me. I need to try to find something that's going to stall. Otherwise, I'm sacrificing another Pokemon out there. I have another energy there. As long as they don't find a boss to orders, I'm chilling. And I'm like, okay, you want to know what? I was so close to just conceding. And I'm like, you want to know what? We'll give one more. You can see that like my frustrations are like built. How can I like come back from this game? But I'm hiding behind the Lily's Pokédoll. Maybe I have a chance. So for the efforts of going through a full video, I was like, you want to know what? I either lose in a turn or two, or I don't. It is what it is. And I'm like, okay, I gotta discard some kind of cards. Maybe they've gone through too many resources. Maybe I don't know. I don't know what compelled me to stay into this game. I definitely was not feeling the strength there, as you could tell. I think I discard the cape here. I don't think the cape matters. Because I have to just go with LucMetal at this point. I think, or actually I go with Zacian because Zacian can knock out other things. The Intrepid Sword hitting the energy is fine. If they don't find, like, at least I have the coating metal energy, so if they find a boss, I don't instantly lose the game. Now they did find their stadium. I was hoping that they just wouldn't find a stadium. But the whole plan is maybe locking them with Power Plant for the rest of the game if they just can't find the Giant Hearth. That might be okay. And I was like, huh. Okay, so they went in after the doll. And I have options here. And I was just putting cards at the bottom that I did not want to find. I couldn't care less about those cards. So I have some stuff. Let's go Brave Blade. Attack. Now, if they don't find it, they don't find it. Like, I was just like, okay, if I knock out their Blacephalon, they might not necessarily have anything. Stuff like that. I mean, I don't necessarily feel like I was like super in this game, but at least I felt like that was a compelling like turnarounds for at least half a second. We'll see exactly how they're able to handle this. And it's more or less just like, again, it's that TempoZard waiting. Whenever you play against this match, you're always just waiting to see if they have it. And I'm like, do they have it? Do they have it? Do they have it? Do they have it? And after the Crobat, after it's like a little bit, it does not feel like they had it at all. Like, it's way too long. So there's their Fire Crystal, there's their other fire. They bench another Blacephalon and then say GG's, which kind of got me upset in the moment. I feel like, because I put this as a 2 times, it felt like a little too long, but we lost. And that's what we got going on for this video today, peeps. Hopefully you enjoyed watching my games. I know it's heart-crushing in the top 4 to lose there, especially because I felt like I had a chance against the ADP deck in the finals. Normally it's a favorable matchup for me, but you want to know what? There's always next time. One of these days I'll try my best, and maybe we'll get close to winning it chill again. So that being said, if you haven't liked this video already, give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and let me know what you think about anything in the comments below. I'd love to hear any of your thoughts. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Have yourself a wonderful day. Peace out. I want to give a huge shout out to everyone who's become a channel member so far. Some peeps love watching my videos, and I totally appreciate that, but some peeps have gone more than out of their way beyond just watching my videos and have supported me financially. So shout out to everyone who's been featured on this channel, who's going through this list of names. We actually have so many channel members that I can't fit them in a single slide, so I figured this might be the best way to get everyone appreciated and kind of showcase all of the top supporters of the Zach Lesage PTCG YouTube channel. Seriously, it means I mean it from the bottom of my heart. It's honestly, I'm almost at a loss for words, but I'm so happy that you are all appreciating and loving the content and that it's hitting home. And I mean, I'm up all in my feels, so I hope that you understand. And thank you so much, everyone. If you want to become a channel member, totally consider it. I'll make it worth your while. And I totally mean that. I'll do everything I possibly can for my channel members to make it sure that it's worth their while. So thank you so much, everyone. And it's just amazing. Thank you. For everyone who's wondering on how to become a channel member, I first and foremost appreciate your consideration. You can click on any one of my videos on desktop, and then you can click join. Join will give you all the opportunities about what we have going on. You can support my content, you could choose the deck list hookup where you get access to my deck list, and we have a group coaching package as well. There's a lot of other things like custom emotes, early access to videos that I try to offer. So you would just click join and you'd be good and you'd be featured at the end of these videos. Thanks so much, everyone. So much for watching and supporting the channel. If you haven't already, it'd mean the world to me if you could subscribe to help support me as a content creator. Thanks again and have yourself a great one.